Come on, ready? We're not ready yet. One more minute. We don't want to go any earlier than we don't want to miss anybody.
Let's see if we can hear it.
Microphone thing's going. See, I can't see the chat. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I am not Mary. This is Mary from Joyful and Mary Quilting. And she does not have much of a voice, which is good and bad.
Mostly good, I guess.
But the better or worse thing, this is the worst. Here I am trying to help out on camera. So we'll try our best.
Not true. He's very helpful. So as you can see, I'm much better off than I was yesterday, but I know this can be really annoying. So he's going to interpret for me. I'm really sorry about this squeak. Anyway, I'm so stifled. This is so cramping my style, you guys. I really felt like I wanted to be here to talk with you. And it comes and goes. So, it's like I'll get a blast of something kind of like a horn, and then it'll just fade away. So again, I apologize. He will, I have my notes here so he can read what I can't say. So welcome. All right.
You want me to try?
You want to say?
Okay. So
here's my merry moment.
You want to do it in your voice? Hi. When I posted that I lost my voice and had tons of things that need to get done with my voice, y'all came to my rescue. The suggestions for relief and healing came flooding in, and believe me, I tried them. I went to the store.
Terry did.
Terry went to the store and brought me some lemon and ginger herbal tea bags.
Okay, wait. Okay, first of all, I've never had tea before. I've tried some herbal teas in the past, but this was kind of a surprise to me. It didn't taste like I was expecting a lemonade. It tasted like dirty water. I couldn't taste any lemon, and the ginger kind of like made my eyes tear up. But I got used to it. So anyway, thank you. I've got one here. It's a little too hot, but as soon as it cools down, I'll be drinking that.
So sorry I couldn't get pictures of her face when she was drinking it. It was kind of amusing. Let's see. Mixed a cup of honey made fresh right here in Central Illinois by a #1 award-winning beekeeper in Central Illinois, Carter's from Mowequa. Wasn't a fan. Never tasted it before, and although I know many of you like your tea, it tasted like dirty water to me. But I got used to it, and he also bought me some Ricola throat lozenges that were tasty until I reached a surprise spoonful of cough syrup in the center. But again,
that was a shock. This is deceiving. It looks like a little cough drop right there. But there's a surprise in the center, kind of like the Tootsie Roll Pop, You suck on it until you get to the chocolate center, except for this chocolate center was horrible. It was like taking cough syrup and just swishing it around in your mouth over and over and over again, which was crazy because it kind of tasted nasty. But again, it helped. So worth it. Worth the suggestion.
You got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
So thank you, everyone. And you definitely helped me make a difficult time a little more tolerable and filled me with hope that I eventually would be able to let loose and talk again. Thanks a lot, people.
This week couldn't have been busier. I had so many things that I have to get done that involve my voice. And taking a break is not something I like doing because quilting is not a break for me. It's fun. So it's like punishment when I'm not able to do what I want to do. So anyway.
So our beginning foundation piecing course?
Yeah, a couple of announcements.
Okay, beginning foundation piecing course begins Monday, September 23rd, and there's still time to register. Go to joyfulandmaryquilting.com/foundation piecing. The quilt is right here behind us, and she wants to show some blocks that you've been working on.
Okay, so that's the original quilt. As you can see, I've got the blocks. They're foundation pieced, and that's what I'm going to teach you. But you may think you know how to foundation piece, and you probably do. But I've got some tips on how to just make it easier and more accurate. I want to show you a couple of the blocks that I made the second time around, I used different fabrics. Isn't that cute? These were just from scraps. This was from a layer cake, and I give you those instructions, but this was just from scraps. So there's one. There's two. Aren't those just the cutest? And then this is more just a fall theme with scraps that I used from a layer cake that I had. And this is what we're going to talk about today, is how to make those 4 patches, just kind of a little preview to the course.
In response, somebody asked about Quilt Guild tomorrow night. I believe it's still on.
It's not tomorrow night.
Or tomorrow night. Sorry.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Sorry.
It's still on. Pardon me.
Quilt along with Squeaky.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm telling you, I had no voice yesterday. This is a major improvement. So I'm going to not strain it the rest of the day. Take all my stuff. And hopefully tomorrow, 11 a.m., I'll be okay. So we'll see. Terry still will be here, but it's going to be a demo for those of you who are interested. It will be our Mary's Triangles. It's called Mary's Triangles in Motion quilt pattern. It's free to Guild members. Guild members will have a demonstration, and then we will have the pattern available in our store. You can still join the Guild and attend the meeting tomorrow if you're interested. Go to joyfulandmerryquilting.com. I forget what the thing is. Alex maybe can put the link in the chat to join the Guild if you're interested. Okay. So let's.
Yeah. So if you're gonna read this or okay. So we're gonna move the camera and.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Yeah, the light just kind of stays there. Okay. So we're going to be, this is going to be short, you guys. We're going to be making 4 patches. These are little ones. They're only 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. They're made from 2-inch strips that have been sewn together. And then eventually they will be positioned like this. Okay? What I want to show you is this really cool ruler. I hope y'all can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Otherwise, you're going to have to interpret. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is the ruler. It's by Bloc-Loc, and it's called the Bloc-Loc Strip Set Ruler. Normally, when you're cutting your strips, what you would do, I'm going to show you with this 2.5 strip. These are jelly roll strips that are sewn together. What happens when you sew these together, sometimes your seam can get a little wavy or wobbly. And when you're trying to cut, your ruler can slip, especially when you're using a long strip, and you can get off a little more and a little more and a little more. So what you would do normally is take your strip set, you'd clean up the edge, which would mean cutting off the selvage. So I would line a line up on here, and I'm using my Quilter Select ruler because it's non-slip. You can use any ruler, this will work, but it slips. So if I put this down, I can easily have some slipping. So this is what I would normally use. I would trim this off, and then I would flip this around, and I would start cutting. So that would give me my 2.5 inch by 4.5 inch sections that I could piece together and make my 4 patch. But this is where this cool ruler comes into play. And you know, I love rulers, so I don't have any affiliation with Bloc-Loc, and actually, I contacted Bloc-Loc. Let me take a drink. Oh, still not crazy about it. See, that's a little better. I contacted Bloc-Loc and I asked them if they had any kind of a discount code if I advertised their rulers. And they said that they actually have a deal with all of their quilt shops and everybody who sells their product that they will not do that. That their rulers are the same price for everyone, no matter where you buy them. So if you take a look and maybe you go onto Amazon or you go to your local quilt shop or wherever, the prices for the rulers are the same, which really encourages everybody to use your local quilt shop where possible. But if you can't get it, you don't have to feel guilty about buying it on Amazon. Bloc-Loc still is able to recoup what they've put into their rulers, and they have great rulers. Now, what I also did was I went online. They have a demonstration on how to use all of their rulers, including the strip set ruler. So I watched that before I even started to use this. This was a ruler that I bought years ago. I didn't even I bought it. I didn't even use it until I was cutting some strips and realized I came across it and realized how easy it is to cut accurately with this. One thing that is really a struggle for me is when I put these together, and if they're not exactly right, then your square isn't 3.5 by 3.5. And then when you put it in, you've got to adjust for that seam allowance, which is not easy to do. So having something that accurately cuts makes a huge, huge difference. I'm sounding better, don't you think? This tea is working. Anyway, thank you to everybody that suggested that. So I left my cutter open. I'm blaming it on the cold. So let's go ahead and use it. Bloc-Loc has actually set up this ruler to really be used for 2.5-inch strips, although it can be used for these smaller ones. So the suggestion is, see, the strip is very, very long, and I was really careful that I sewed it together accurately. I pressed it. I used my pressing solution, my pressing marker along the seam just to make sure that it was nice and flat. I want it to lay nice and flat and easily nests. I will be able to easily nest the two pieces together. So I did that. This has got Terreal Magic in it. My label fell off. What I like to do is I actually fill up one of these containers. This is just for ketchup that I bought at the dollar store. And you fill it up half. I fill mine up half and half with Terreal Magic, which is my preferred solution. I buy it by the gallon, but I've also used Mary Ellen's Best Press or Magic Premium Quilting. Anything works in here to use this. But I really like putting it in here because when I'm filling my pen, it's so much easier to fill it using this tip. So this tip is just, it's just handy. It fits right down into the pen. I fill it up. It looks like I need to replenish, but then I'm able to use my pressing solution. So that's just a little tip for you. Now, the first thing we're going to do with this is we are going to trim up the squares. So what they suggested, this is actually, like I said, it's made to be used with our 2.5-inch strips. So you're not going to have any waste, but you don't have to, but I like it better doing it in sections. I'll show you both ways. The first way is, this is not in sections. You're going to clean up this right edge here. And you can see that that ridge that the Bloc-Loc ruler has locks right up against your seam. So it's not going anywhere. And I've got that nice smooth cut here. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have to spin this around. So hopefully I'm in kind of closed, cramped quarters here, but I'm going to turn it around. And then what I'll do is I'm going to position my ruler where this black line is. What they've done is they've made the 2.5-inch lines darker, and you can cut 4. So what you'll do is you can move this down to the edge, lock it up, make sure that darker line is locked right on here, and then cut. Take this up, move it, line it up again, right on that edge. And the thing is, what they talk about is that each time, even if you've got a little bit of a bow in here, the Bloc-Loc ridge actually straightens it up. So you've got nice straight pieces when you're cutting, and then you just keep moving your ruler. Okay, so that's one way, and that works really well. The other way is just to cut one whole section so that you've got, it's upside down here, but you've got your pieces all lined up, your edges lined up, and I'm going to cut this whole section. Then I'm going to watch this side, and I'm going to move down my ruler down to this next line, that dark black line, which is 2.5 inches. And then look, I've got 2.5 inches right here ready to go. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to move that black line all the way down to the edge. So everything is still staying straight. I don't have to worry about squaring anything up again. And then I do that. And then one more time. And so it gives me 4. Now you're thinking, oh, I don't want to take all the time to cut those sections. How much time did it take me? 3 seconds maybe. I can do that. I think that's okay. So then again, you're ready for your next section. And we're going to go ahead, line that up again. And then we're going to cut, move down one section. This is so slick. Move down one section. Remember, we're going for that 2.5-inch mark line, but I don't even have to read the numbers because they've made those dark lines there. And then one more time. I'm so happy to have these accurately cut pieces on all sides. Plus, there's no angling or anything. Everything is good. And then you would just continue on for the rest of your strip. Now, when you're putting these together into a 4-patch unit, of course, that's the way they go. We've got our seams pressed this way and this way, so we can easily nest those seams. But even if you do that, they don't always nest exactly right. I find that I like the diagonal or cross pinning in order to make that happen. Now, I've got these little magic pins. They're short. And then I've also got my clover pins. I like them both. So what I'm going to do is fold these together. I'm going to nest the seams, like I said. But then I want to make sure that they are held in place. Because even if you have the seam you've poked through and you've seen it looks pretty good, sometimes we don't always hit it exactly right if we haven't pressed it totally flat right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke through right there at that seam. Then I'm going to check the other side. See, it's a little tiny bit off, and that's going to show. So I'm going to move it just over just a hair. It doesn't matter if I've got my 1/4-inch seam, because you're going to sew that. What I want to make sure is that there, do you see that? The pin is coming out right in the middle of that seam. It's not over to one side or the other. Now, once I have done that, then I'm going to nest my seams, and I'm going to poke that in. And then make sure that it's coming out on this side in the same way. You can just peek in there and see. And look, those two look really good. So I've got that pinned. This pin is perpendicular. Don't do this, don't do this, because that's going to move it. You want everything lined up. You can feel this seam is lined up, oops, all the way down to the end. So it's not crooked at all. This fabric really frays. I don't know what fabric it is. Then what we're going to do is we're going to place a pin down on the right side of the seam, up on the left side. Keep this one in there. Adjust it. Down on the left side, up on the right side. And now we've got that seam cross pinned. It's not going anywhere. We're going to go ahead and pin each end because I like to pin. And then we are going to sew that 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to do that. So there I have, turn there. Okay. So there I have sewn that 1/4 inch, and I'm going to press it toward this. And look at my point there. It is beautiful. Before I do that, hi, Katie. Welcome. Katie from Greenland is here. We're so happy that you've joined us so late at night. Is it late at night there? No, it's not. It's not. It's what we have, Katie. Forget how many hours. Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm going to actually paint that seam with my pressing marker, and then I'm going to press it until it's dry. So that's just going to take a second. And here we go. Look at how beautiful that is. Let me get it straight here. This is what happens when we use the pressing marker, when we use the cross pinning of our seams with a diagonal pinning, and when we press everything with a pressing solution so that we get a little bit of a stiff fabric. So this is just how to do this with a 2.5 inch strip. Now, in my quilt here that I showed you, in this particular block, these 4 patches, these are our cornerstones for our sashing strips. So these are smaller. So when I actually cut those, I'm not going to sew these together just because in this particular pattern, I have a different one that I'm going to be using. So I actually have another strip that I have sewn together that, let me trim off my, got some fraying going on here with this fabric. So again, this one I'm going to press toward the black because I'm using actually a black and a gray. And then I'm going to cut those apart. You can see how perfect and how beautiful those strips are when you cut them. So I'm going to move all my stuff out of the way here. And I'm going to mark this. Now, one thing, one of our guild members, Denise, suggested, I always would open up my piece and then I would mark it this way all along the edge. But she said there's really no need to do that. You can just mark right on the top. It's going to saturate the fabric either way. And this way you can see if you've missed anything, you can just go ahead and mark that all the way along the edge. And then I'm going to press it, like I said, toward the black. Now remember, you never, ever, ever press directly on your pressing mat. That can cause a huge problem. I mean, your cutting mat, sorry. Not your pressing mat. Of course you press on there. Okay, so I have this all nice and cut and sewn together and pressed. And I was very careful again. My 1/4 inch seam is marked on my sewing machine. So sometimes, sometimes it just gets a little bit off. It just happens. And that's why we do trim up as needed. So I'm going to go ahead. Now this one, you have to look at the lines on your ruler because this is not marked. We only want this to be 2-inch strips wide, not 2.5. So I'm going to look at my ruler. I'm actually going to turn it this direction so that you can, oh no, you're right side up. Okay. So what I'm going to do, the first thing is I'm just going to trim off that end to clean it up. And I've got a little bit of extra here with the selvage that I can use, but I want to make sure everything is flat, no bubbles. Okay, now this one I will just be trimming it as I go along. Oops, sorry. So what I'm going to do is look at my ruler, and I can see, because here's the numbers down here, 1, 2, 3. I know I want it to be a 2-inch, which is right there. It's upside down, I know, but it works. So this is where I'm going to position my ruler. Now, my cutting mat is deceiving me a little bit because it's got lines on here too. So you have to, again, just double duty, be careful. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2. And you can see I've lined that up so it doesn't go anywhere. Everything looks good. Look at how good that is. And then I'm going to cut that off. And then I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to go down the line. You can see everything is looking good here, looking good here, across here. I'm not going to get off because this is keeping me in line. That groove is keeping me in line. So I'm just going to keep going all the way down my strip. And this is a full strip. So you can use, a stripology ruler where it has the slots in there. I have found that there are occasions, I love mine, but it can be off on occasion. As you put your cutter in the slot, you can push those little plastic strips a little bit this way or that way. You're not going to get the accuracy that you have on here. The reason I like this one for this particular project is my squares are small. I don't really have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to the squares. So anyway, you just keep going and cut all the way down. This is just a 1/2 strip.
What size Bloc-Loc do you recommend?
This particular, I have every Bloc-Loc, I think. I love, if I would buy any, I would buy the 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch Bloc-Loc square ruler. And then I would also buy the 2x4 flying geese ruler. Those are the two that I use all the time. I use the others too. This one I like for this particular project. I'm doing so many squares that I felt like this one definitely was worth it for this. But if you're doing a lot of piecing where you are cutting strip sets, this is a good one. You can also do larger strip sets with this. From what they say, as long as it fits under the ruler, so we can go all the way up to, what is this, 6 inches, it's going to work. So you can kind of use that as a guide. But those are my favorites. Those are the ones that I do use. There are some that have, that are for, yeah, they're not there. They're over, way over. Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you what I have. This is just a few of what I have. Okay. This is the 5.5 inch.
Sue says she's got all the flying geese sizes.
Yeah, I have. There's a little teeny tiny flying geese one. This is the 2x4. This is the one I use most often, and I really like this one. Get it out of the way here. Then I also use, this is the great big flying geese. And you would think, oh, when am I ever going to use this one? But actually, this one comes in handy. It's the 3x6 inch finished, and it actually makes for a really great block. And again, there's also a way to cut square in a square using the Bloc-Loc rulers also. So they've got a tutorial on that. I should do a tutorial on that. It's really fun. This one is 6.5. I showed you the 5.5. This one is 4.5. I shouldn't be stacking these. Then this one is 3.5. 2.5. And then this one is the triangle in a square. And this is great for trimming this as well. I really like this one if you've got a pattern that has those triangles. So anyway, it'd be really fun to just take a look at all their rulers and see what they have. But those are the ones I would use most often, 6.5 by 6.5 and the 2x4 flying geese. That's just what I use most often. So as we then look at this now, remember, I'm going to piece these together and I'm going to do it this way. So this is small. These are tiny. I want to make sure I have a really super accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance taped or marked on my machine so that I know I'm not going to get off. Now, this is those little magic pins. They're teeny tiny. I don't know what the number is, small. Width of my thumb, so probably about 1 inch, but I think they're written in millimeters. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, so 25 millimeters. Who knows? I didn't save the packaging. What I was telling Terry is what they need to do on this. They need to put the size on the box so that you remember what you've got here. And you can reorder. I mean, you can look at the picture. So again, same thing here. I'm going to put my pin in right where I think it goes. And then I'm going to check inside just to see. And look, okay, you can see they were both off. So I find it easier just to do this. That's good. Got my 1/4 inch, and that's good. So now they're nested together nicely. I can feel it. The seams are flat. And then I'm going to cross pin here. These pins work well also. The other ones, I think the clovers are skinnier, and I think they go through a little bit easier. But, you know, these are easy to see. What I like about these is they're easy to pull out because these can get kind of caught under there, and it's hard to grab that little tiny head, where these, you can just pull these out, and it's really easy to do that. So they're the magic pins. And then we're going to go ahead and just sew right on that line right here, that 1/4 inch.
Somebody said Bloc-Locs are too expensive. You can tell them about using.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so there I have sewn those two pieces together. And if these aren't perfect, it's because I took them over to my sewing machine and I sewed with my arms like way out like this. So let's take a look. But it's perfect. How about that? So what a surprise. This one I am going to press open. The reason I'm going to do that, or you can spin the seams, but I don't like messing with that. I'm going to press that open. I will do this with finger pressing first. Then I'm going to use my marker. I also have this tool that, this is a pressing bar. You can see by looking at it. This is how it looks. And you can, what it does, look at when I lay it on there, it just lets everything kind of lay out a little bit flatter. If you, again, you know, don't go out and buy it, but if you need to do a lot, I find it to be handy. So we're going to go here, and then you just press like that.
Should be barefoot down here.
Terry just stepped on a pin. Sorry. Okay. So there we have that beautiful, beautiful seam. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that's my tip for today on how you can get those 4 patches to go together nicely and easily using the Bloc-Loc, or just, you know, the other techniques. Maybe we could, oh, wait. Somebody said the Bloc-Locs are expensive. And yes, they are. But first of all, they're a one-time purchase. They last forever. That part I think is good. Sometimes we just have to invest. The other thing that you can do, if you don't want to purchase a Bloc-Loc, you just make your own. So what you do is with your blue painter's tape, or any you know, a thinner tape will work too, but the painter's tape works really well. what I do is I stack up 5 layers. Now use a line on your cutting mat so they stay in line. This is the 1-inch tape. Oops, it's not long enough. Wait a minute. I need it to be as long as my ruler. I usually do it with the 6.5-inch ruler, but I just happen to have this 4.5-inch ready. So I want to make it so that it's at least long enough to go from corner to corner. You guys, I'm sounding better. Ooh, just drank some of that nasty tea. Oh, but it works, you know. There's 2. 3. 4. And 5. And I'm not going to trim them. They look pretty good there. I've been very careful to line them up. Now I'm going to see the diagonal marking on my ruler? I'm going to lay this right along that diagonal marking so I can see the mark. I want to be right up next to it, but I don't want to cross over it. Okay, this is totally removable. You're not going to ruin your ruler. And then take an old rotary cutter blade. This is my old one. And then you're just going to trim that off. Painter's tape, I don't know, what's painter's tape for a roll? Nothing. It's pretty cheap. So you can buy painter's tape, go to Joann's or wherever and buy yourself a square ruler that is inexpensive. Get it on sale, use a coupon, and then use your painter's tape. And then for the square Bloc-Loc, I'll just show you on here. This is not a half square triangle, but I'm just going to show you. If we place it here, look at that. It works really well. And I can go ahead. Let's say I'm going to go cut. I can cut on this particular piece without it moving. So that's an option if you don't want to buy another ruler, you don't have the money to do that. I get that. Quilting tools are expensive. Okay, so we're going to come back forward again. Pardon?
It's on an ad. There we go.
Oh.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm a little crooked.
Okay.
I'm feeling crooked today. Pardon me. Okay, so there you have it. Thank you so much for your patience. One more time. I love quilting. I love Night Owl Quilting. I love our Quilt Guild meetings. I love our chats before our meetings. I like getting together with you for our sew-alongs. And I really wanted to make sure this was going to happen today, no matter what. So I'm really grateful. I have a little bit extra here that I can use. I'm hoping that it keeps getting better. I'm sure it will. Who knows why stuff like that happens? I mean, it's like one day I wake up, I can't talk. I mean, I don't know. My body's telling me something, I guess. You talk too much? I don't. But anyway, so that's our instruction for today, our product demonstration. That's what I like to do in our daytime quilting. Our night owl quilting, we like to do, some kind of projects. We did a block last week. If you haven't seen it and you didn't watch the replay, it's a block it looks like it's spinning. And I did a Halloween block, but you can do it with anything. And some people have done Christmas blocks. Some people have just done florals or fun stuff. And it's just an easy way to sew a half seam. I did notice on one of the Facebook pages today, somebody was talking about sewing half seams and how you do that. She had a block that needed to be done. Super easy to do. You can do it with a lot of different things, and we'll do it one with a hexagon, and I'll show you how fun it is as we get closer to Christmas. But we do have that particular video from last month, our last night owl quilting on Monday night. If you go to our live section on our YouTube channel, you can watch it there, and it'll walk you through the process of making the block. All the measurements are there. You can go through and follow along and then make a quilt. Oh, Deb, thanks so much. You're amazing, and I really appreciate your support. It's just one of those days, one of those weeks.
I've been joyful, but I'll never be married.
Yeah, this is true. But anyway, Terry's gotten a break because every day I talk to him about quilting every single day. And there's a little video that I sent to him that there's this little dog that's laying on the couch just looking at this bird, and the bird's got its feathers up, and it's just. And I said, that's me talking to him about quilting. He just lays there and he just listens. And I talk about it. And I think I kind of wore out the vocal cords by doing that. But anyway, so either that or he brought me something home from the ER when he was working and I caught it. So that's probably more what happened.
We also noticed yesterday that when we're eating, there's not a lot of conversation because one of us seems to monopolize it.
Yeah, we're sitting there, he doesn't say anything. I mean, just because I can't talk, I can still listen. I have to share with you. I shared.
Trying to look for my openings, but
I was on Facebook. I posted. I had the first day I'd lost my voice. I usually take him lunch at work, and so I went over to a fast food restaurant, and I pulled up to. Well, I went to two because the first one didn't have what I wanted. And so I thought, I'm going to have to go in. I can't just drive up. So I went in and I had a typed list of what I wanted because I had no voice. This is amazing compared to 2 days ago. So I took the list in and I handed it to the girl. And she looks at my list and she says, we don't have any of this. I'm like, what do you mean? So I'm trying to talk. It's so frustrating when you don't have a voice. You can't say anything. She was not helpful. And so I said, okay, just forget it. She said, you want to cancel? I said, yeah, just cancel. I'm going to go somewhere else. So I left and I went to another place and I pulled up this time to the drive up. I just drove past the microphone and drove right to the drive up. And I handed the sheet to the girl and I said, I have no voice. And she was so nice. But the thing was, she immediately stopped talking to me and started using sign language. I can hear, I just can't talk. And so she was so nice, so I didn't want to say anything. And so she showed me she was putting the little sticker on my mirror, with the number on it. And she thanked me and I thanked her back. And she told me to pull up and I did. And I got my food. But anyway, yeah, that's what it's like. You lose your voice and you can't talk. And people think, I guess, that you lose your hearing too and maybe lose your sense. I don't know, because, I just went kind of down on the stupid line where it was hard for me to communicate. But anyway.
Estelle.
Okay. I can't see what it says.
Estelle, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Estelle. Terry's showing me the computer and I'm looking at the wrong spot. Thank you so much, Estelle. You're so wonderful. I really appreciate it.
On page 5 of the pumpkin parade quilt, are the strips white or orange outer strips?
On page 5. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me right now. The question about this is the pumpkin parade. So I don't know if you can see on here. Well, I'm not sure what you're talking, but if you send me an email, I'll happily answer that for you. I can probably do a little bit more detail, but I don't have it in front of me right now. So anyway, anything else? Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will definitely try to be joyful, but I will always be merry. Thanks again, and we'll see you again for our Night Owl Quilting, which will be Monday night, 10 p.m. Central Time. Thanks for joining me.